Okay, so my name is Adala Leeson, and I'm Head of Socioeconomic Analysis and Evaluation at Historic England. What I will be talking about today is just presenting some of the research we're doing and working in collaboration with DCMS, and Harry will continue on from some of the concepts I introduced at this early stage. And I just wanted to introduce some of our latest thinking around the economics of heritage in particular. So Historic England is the public body that helps people care for, enjoy and celebrate England's spectacular historic environment. And I lead a small team at Historic England within our analytics department. And what we focus on is providing evidence to make better decisions for the historic environment. That's our ultimate goal. And one of the ways in which we do this, there are several, but one of the ways in which we do this is collating lots of different research pieces in something called Heritage Counts. Heritage Counts is a publication series that we produce at Historic England within my team on behalf of what is called the Historic Environment Forum. And the objective of this is to pull together lots of different pieces of evidence around various socioeconomic environments and linking them into the historic environment. So at the moment we have 5 products, if you like. The first one is heritage and the economy, and that's what I'm going to focus on today. And in here, we present lots of different pieces of evidence where we've looked at the impact of heritage and the economy, or the impact of the economy on heritage. Equally, we have a publication called Heritage and Society, which looks at social impacts of heritage. We also collate lots of data and indicators, which we present in our indicator document each year. And we look at the policy environment each year and present it as part of our overview. And each year we undertake a thematic piece of research, which is decided by the Historic Environment Forum. Last year we focused on carbon in the built historic environment, and this year we're pushing that research forward. And we are looking at different measures people can take within their, as of the historic environment, within their homes to reduce energy and emissions. But what I'm going to focus on today is just the heritage and environment. But just one of the things I wanted to mention is really that our objective is to start to try and triangulate and look at evidence in lots of different areas, but really it's looking at heritage at the center and looking at it within the context of our economy, within the context of the environment, and within the context of society. This is just a really simple presentation, but obviously there are lots of interactions and interdependencies between these things. And historically, the heritage sector and Historic England have had quite a lot of evidence and research on the historic environment and different aspects of it. And what we're really trying to do is push for more linkages between the historic environment and the economy, looking at the linkages to the environment and environmental debates and policy debates, and also looking at linkages to society. So I'm just going to very, very briefly just talk about some really basic principles in terms of how we're thinking with heritage and the economy. So economics is a study of how to allocate limited resources. In theory, we have unlimited wants, but limited resources. So what we have to do is balance. As consumers, we balance our earnings with what we spend. As producers, we look at the cost of labor, the cost of goods and services against prices and wages. And within government sector, this is also a factor where we look at income and expenditure by different types of activities. And economics is a tool used to make these decisions. This is a really good infographic, which I tend to use at presentations like this, and it's a really interesting one. It's old, but it just demonstrates some of the things I'm talking about. Is the UK government spending? There are so many different areas of expenditure, and this shows you how government allocates funding across different departments. And you see in the left-hand corner there, there's a tiny dot, and that's where we Heritage fit in. So economics is about making those choices. So choices are inevitable. In microeconomics, you study individual actors' decisions. And in macroeconomics, it's really looking at the aggregate impact of different actors' decisions and weighing up the different choices and balancing those things. And what we say is that if a good or service satisfies an individual's preference, it has economic value. And I argue that heritage has economic value. In our Heritage and Economy publication, we show that heritage does satisfy preferences. People choose to allocate their time to heritage. We've seen a huge increase in visitors to historic properties in England over the past few decades. Obviously, currently we're in an extreme crisis, and we will see this tapering off, but hopefully we're hoping for that V-shaped recovery. But we also see that heritage volunteers, that there's a significant amount of people that allocate their time to volunteering in heritage. Equally, heritage has economic value as people choose to invest in heritage. For the last 4 years, we've done a survey of owners of listed buildings. And in one of the surveys we did, we asked owners of domestic historic properties, listed properties, how much they spend. And we found that a lot of people are spending significant amounts on their properties. We also show that historic features are highly sought after. Some research that we've done in the past shows that there is a 9% premium on homes in conservation areas. We also found from quite an old survey now that estate agents show that there is original features add to a property's value. Now, economics relies heavily on value and valuation, and valuation and value is often expressed in monetary terms. Value is the perceived benefits over the price paid, and good valuation is really critical to ensure that resources are efficiently allocated. In a very, very simple model, we look at how much someone is willing to pay in order to give up other goods and services to obtain another good and service. And this is what we call people's willingness to pay, and this is what is often used in valuation studies. But not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. Some goods and services have value, but they're not easily measured by conventional economic metrics. So we argue that heritage has value beyond what we capture today in orthodox economic terms. Heritage has archaeological value. It's a bridge to our past. It has architectural value. It has aesthetic value, historical value, remembering our past, social value, links to identity, cohesion, well-being, belonging, and also spiritual value. This is why economists have recognized that certain things are not easily measured, especially if they're not traded in markets. Wow, okay. So this is why economists have developed the concept of total economic value. Total economic value captures use values and non-use values. Use values are generally captured in conventional economics, and they result from direct or indirect use. For example, visiting a heritage site and the fees paid, or visiting a cafe within the local economy once you do visit those sites. But there are also non-use values, which are the option values, existent values, bequest values, us wanting to pass on these sites to future generations. And even if we don't visit them currently, we might want to visit them in future. But this is why we're looking to move to something we call a cultural and heritage capital approach. Economics is a powerful tool for decision making. We use economic principles to decide how much to invest and spend. Within the heritage sector, we argue that we need to use economics more. It is a really useful tool in decision making, and we need to sharpen that tool in our toolbox. It is difficult to capture the value of heritage, but it is imperative to do so when making decisions. This is why we're moving towards a cultural heritage capital approach, which Harry will be talking a little bit more about. But I think it's really important to highlight that economics is a tool, but it is one of many tools that we have. It's not a replacement for social or political debate. It is just about improving our use of economics within the heritage sector. Thank you.